Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us today for FA's talk on remote work security. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about reducing your security risks while working remotely. Let's talk about what's scary. When you think about something scary, maybe one of these things come to mind. Maybe it's Nosferatu, that scene from Psycho, or Scream. But what's scarier is a data breach. Imagine waking up one day, going into work and seeing a ransom attack, your data being held ransom or malware attacking your network. That's what's really scary. So to prevent a scary situation from happening to you today, we're going to go over how to access your data stored in in-house servers. We're going to be talking about what hackers are really looking for when they're peeking into your network. And we're also going to review some basic ways to protect your data. So as you're connecting remotely, there are 3 ways that you can connect remotely. There's a way that makes us at FA here very happy. There's an okay way to do it, and there's a way that makes us very sad. So a way that makes us sad is if you're using an unsecured device and using an unsecured remote connection. So this would be connecting just by bypassing a firewall, using personal devices or any device that doesn't have antivirus on it. And any computer has the ability to connect remotely. So we really want to make sure that you're using a device that has that secure connection to your VPN. An okay way to connect remotely is by using a work-issued device, so that's a thumbs up. And a not so great way is by using freeware. So this would be a free version of something like TeamViewer. And if you're using a free version of this kind of software, you're really asking yourself, at what price is my security coming? You're putting a cost on your security, really, and it may come as a data breach. So that's something that we really want to avoid. The best way, the way that we recommend, is by using a work-issued device and by using a secure remote connection. So this would be using a VPN or an SSL certificate, which is a secure socket layer. And we suggest using a work-issued device because we know that these devices usually have an up-to-date antivirus. We have security protocols within your network, and we know that these machines are maintained. So that's why we recommend really using a work-issued device. However, we do understand that sometimes we do use personal devices, so we're going to go over a few ways to keep those protected. Let's talk a little bit about your VPN, though. So this is what a majority of our partners are using to connect remotely, and a VPN is really your virtual private network. So what does this do? It creates a secure connection via the internet, and it also provides online privacy and digital anonymity while working remotely. So this is what your VPN looks like. You're using an encrypted connection via the internet to connect remotely. And this prevents hackers from looking in and peeking into your network. They won't see this connection happening. So it really does keep your data secure. So this is why we recommend using this way to connect remotely. However, just like with anything, there are some limits to your VPN. So you may notice that local database dependent software doesn't work. So this would be things like Razor's Edge, QuickBooks, Sage. Your VPN is really there to access files, not files within your databases. And also you may be experiencing some connection speed, some slower speeds. So this is really dependent on your local internet. You may experience speeds slower by 10 to 15%, but this, again, really depends on your internet service provider. So no need to worry if you're experiencing a little slower connection. And also the health of your VPN is dependent on your machine's health. So the viruses are still a threat, and we want to encourage you to be mindful of what you're clicking on and what sites that you're entering. So like I mentioned before, we do realize that personal devices do come into play while working remotely, especially if you're out in the field using your cell phone for quick access to files or for communication. So if you do find yourself using a personal device for work, we do want to recommend that you use a browser with an adware blocker to avoid pop-ups or strange links, things to click on, just to avoid that altogether. Also to keep your antivirus software up to date. Another thing that we recommend is to keep your built-in firewall enabled. Windows has its own firewall, and most of the time you don't even know that it's running, so it's best to just keep that on. And lastly, we encourage you to install operating system updates. So you might have a little pop-up that comes up and says, hey, your system is ready for an update. Do you want to do that? And maybe in the middle of your workday, it's not convenient for you. But just remember, at the end of your workday, just leave your laptop or device open, plugged into charge, connect to Wi-Fi, and just let that software update. It shouldn't take long, and it really is a good way to be sure that your device is healthy. And here we do have a safety tip for you. Regardless of how you connect to your in-house network, you should always do the following. Disconnect your VPN when it's not in use, and we encourage you to avoid using public Wi-Fi, especially when using a VPN. So we know, we're all dreaming of getting back out there into our Starbucks or local cafe to work remotely, or maybe just, again, getting out into the field. And sometimes public Wi-Fi is just impossible to avoid. However, we do encourage you, if you do have a mobile hotspot, to connect using your mobile hotspot. And if you do have to connect to public Wi-Fi, just to keep it quick. No prolonged use of the public Wi-Fi. So what are hackers actually looking for when they're peeking into your network? They're not looking for your family recipes or anything like that. What they're actually looking for is something called PII. And what exactly is PII? PII is defined as personally identifiable information, and that is any data that can be used to identify a specific individual, company, or organization. So it's not just your personal information that they're looking for, which would be things like social security number, government issued IDs like driver's licenses or passport information. It can also be account numbers, financial information, banking information, contact information, or your birth date or birthplace. And some of this does carry over into your company's organization. Things like government issued IDs or tax information. Again, account numbers, wire transfer or bank account information, any information that could be used to authorize any kind of transaction. You want to be careful of where you're plugging in that information, and if it is a true source, if it is a reliable link, because you also want to be sure of keeping the data of your clients, your partners, your vendors private, and also your pricing and marketing strategies. Those are things that you don't want out in the open. So to protect that data, again, we want to make sure that we're following some basic guidelines across the board to keep that information safe, and just make sure that everybody's on the same page when it comes to what kind of websites we're frequenting or what kind of things we're downloading, just making sure that things don't seem a little fishy. Speaking of fishy, a common way that people try to get information is phishing. And this is a fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information by disguising oneself as a trustworthy entity. So they are not going to present themselves, just popping and saying and demanding your information. It's going to disguise themselves. And they do this in 4 ways. They spoof the sender address. It may look like Amazon or Netflix, your bank is contacting you, but really these are kind of spoofed email addresses. They're not true domains. They may also embed links into emails, encouraging you to click on a link to take you to a website, and it may look completely legitimate. However, we want you to be wary of links that you're clicking on, emails that may seem suspicious. Another thing they do is install Trojan via attachments or posing as ads. So maybe Amazon is telling you to download a return label for something, maybe a contact sheet or form, something that may need a signature. Those kinds of things where it's telling you to download information you want to be wary of. And the last thing, we all know how annoying this is, incessant robocalls all throughout the day, just begging for information. We really want to be careful about who we're giving our information to and the way that they're contacting us. So how to spot phishing? These are going to be examples of emails. And so the first one that we have is from Wells Fargo. So first tip, if you don't have Wells Fargo as your bank, you know that this is a fraudulent email. But some other things that we want to look for are suspicious or unfamiliar senders. So this looks like it's from a Wells Fargo domain. However, we see in these little parentheses, the domain is not Wells Fargo. And we also see that that Wells Fargo is inconsistently spelled. Up here, we see Wells Fargo as the domain being capital W, capital F, and we don't see that here. We don't see the same spelling, and we also know that Wells Fargo is 2 words, not 2 words here, so that's also a red flag. And finally, is spelling or grammatical errors. We see you sign in instead of your sign in. A lowercase p in please, sincerely is spelled wrong. So these are kind of things, common errors that these fraudulent emails make, and things that you want to look out for phishing. Another thing that we also want our partners to be wary of is someone posing as the government. Tax season was extended, people posing as the IRS, stimulus check information. So if they keep it current, things that are happening and things that make people vulnerable. So we are again going to look out for spelling, grammar, or awkward language, the president administration, again, posing as an authoritative voice. All staff, faculty, and employee include student, just strange kind of words thrown together. We also want to look for these links. They are going to encourage you to verify this information and give you a link. And we also want to be aware of the tone. So it's saying here, avoid omission of your benefits. If you are receiving benefits through the stimulus package or unemployment benefits, who wants to lose those benefits? They're threatening. An institution, a credible institution, is not going to be threatening in their emails, so we just want to be wary of the tone as well. So to minimize your risks, we recommend the following: to set passwords on all devices and use a password manager. So some password managers off the top of my head would be something like LastPass, MyKey, Password Boss, reliable places to store your passwords. Also using multi-factor authentication, to log in. So this would also be something, maybe you'll see a 2-factor authentication, and this would be once you type in your password, you would get an OTP or one-time password sent to your cell phone or email or both, and this would give you a series of numbers or letters, and after you type in your password, you would again have another code to type in. So unless someone has your password and the way to get your one-time password or key, they wouldn't be able to log in. So it's just another layer of security that it provides you. We also suggest that you don't, again, open emails from unknown or suspicious senders. Just be wary of that domain, again, matching who or where that person is sending from. We also suggest that you lock your devices if you step away. Eventually, you're going to have to get up and go somewhere, even if you're at home. I know my kids, as soon as I get up, they're wanting to bang away at my laptop or see what I'm doing, getting on my phone, whatever's the way. Maybe you have a nosy roommate who's going to just peek in. Just to avoid any of that, lock your devices, as you're stepping away, especially if you're out in a public area. And again, if you're out, maybe you have to leave, have a plan for lost or stolen devices. So this would be something like a remote wipe, a way to kind of do a factory reset and protect your data should your device go missing or fall into the wrong hands. We also encourage you to back up devices. If you do have a lost device and that device ends up being wiped, you want to be able to have that information, that data, your work backed up. And you can ask your TCP about your specific backup process, or if you'd like some information on how to use a shared drive to back up your information, you can definitely reach out to us and we can help you formulate that plan. And lastly, a clean desk policy. And this is something that we use at F8 as part of our policy as well. And that is just at the end of the day to close up your laptop, kind of clear everything, put your work away, and shut down for the day. And this is great for security, but it's also great for working at home, just to kind of shut off and shut down from work for a little bit. So these are really things that you can do as the first line or front line of the defense against malware, ransom attacks, or any kind of like hacking situation. And so you don't want to be the weak link in here and be the reason why your company or organization's data is exposed, or the reason for a data breach. So that about wraps it up for me. We are working remotely, we're working securely, and we're working together to make that happen. We hope that you learned something new today. We hope that you're coming away feeling more sure that you can keep your company safe. And if you'd like more information about how to keep your company safe through stricter policies, we can lock it down like Fort Knox, you can definitely reach out to us for some more policies or ways to more securely shut down or lock down your network. Maybe you're not using a VPN, maybe you're using a drive or something like that, cloud storage, to access your information remotely. And there are ways that you can keep that information safe as well. It's not necessary to have a VPN, that's just something that we recommend. If you do want to reach out for some policies on keeping your cloud drive safe and a backup plan for that, definitely reach out to us and we can talk about specifics for your organization. And please join us again to talk more about the tools you have in keeping your work environment productive and safe. I hope you guys are doing well, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.